Testimony started today in the Delphi murders trial. Look at the line of people hoping for a seat in that small courtroom in Carroll County. Richard Allen is on trial today for the murder of Abby Williams and Libby German. The two teen girls went missing more than 7 years ago on the Monon High Trail. Their bodies discovered the next day. Thanks for inviting us in at 6 o'clock. My colleague Anne-Marie Tiernan has been in Delphi all day. And Anne, we've got some new details in this case, starting with the opening statements this morning.
That's right. We had opening statements this morning, Scott, and then we had multiple people take the witness stand and provide testimony this afternoon. Now, we are so fortunate at WTHR that we have two team members who were able to get access to have firsthand accounts of what happened in court today. Bob Siegel and Emily Longnecker. Bob was there in the morning, Emily in the afternoon. They're joining us now with what they learned in court today, starting with you, Bob.
Well, we started with some gut-wrenching testimony. The most poignant moment of the day came from the very first witness. That was Becky Patty, which is Libby German's grandmother. She told jurors today about the last time that she saw her granddaughter. A morning that started with banana pancakes and telling Libby to put on a sweatshirt or jacket before Libby and Abby went to walk the trails by the Monon High Bridge. She fought back tears as she told jurors, the last thing she said to me was, "Grandma, I'll be okay." She recalled trying to reach her granddaughter for hours. We kept calling, she told jurors. And then the hopeful moment, she learned Abby and Libby were found, that quickly turned tragic. Libby's grandmother broke down on the witness stand when she told jurors, "I couldn't understand why they weren't taking me to her. And then I saw the coroner's van driving by, and that's when I realized they were not alive." We also heard from Libby's sister and father as they explained the frantic search that took place late in the night in the woods with flashlights trying to find Abby and Libby. The jury listened intently during the entire process. Richard Allen, he was listening the whole time and taking notes on what happened. I was just behind him, just a few feet away in the courtroom. And Emily, you were right behind him as well, and you got to hear some different testimony.
Yeah, I heard from Abby's mother this afternoon, Anna Williams, and she teared up and paused when she was asked to describe her daughter. This was her only child. She told the jury that Abby was a kind and helpful girl, quiet and reserved around strangers, said that she wouldn't just go up to a complete stranger. And she says she last saw her daughter on Sunday when she dropped her off to spend the night at Libby's, and Monday Abby called to ask if she could stay longer that day at Libby's, that they had off from school, if you'll remember, right? And Anna Williams testified she didn't know Abby was going to the Monon High Bridge that day. And Anna Williams was at work, she says, when she got calls around 5:15, back-to-back calls from Becky Patty, and when she answered, girls had gone out for a walk in the woods. They were supposed to be picked up later that afternoon. They had not up, and so Anna then told her boss, "Look, I don't know what these girls are up to, but it's probably not that big of a deal. I'll probably be right back." And of course we know that didn't happen.
We really got the sense that the testimony that was offered by the state today was really to help the jury get to know Abby and Libby, and also the excruciating moments that the families went through in the days of and after the murders.
I thought one other thing that was poignant in one of these state's exhibits was that picture, that selfie of Abby and Libby in the car, in Libby's sister Kelsey's car right before they were dropped off. And there was Abby in the back seat. Her hair was in a messy bun, and it looked like Libby had taken the picture. And there was Libby in the front seat, in the front passenger seat, wearing a tie-dye shirt. And that's right before they were dropped off and ready to go on what they thought was going to be a wonderful day out in the woods. They had the day off from school, these young ladies, and they were going to, go and have an adventure. So.
And boy, oh boy, I think that testimony and what you're getting to there is really the heart of what my conversation was with this lady that I talked to today. Her name is Sarah Asbrock, and she has been working with a Facebook page here in this community, has thousands of followers, really from the very beginning, first to get search parties out and now really to continue to honor the memory. And she said, through all of this back and forth and legal wrangling, we can't just simply say, oh, closure. It's not that simple for parents that have lost a child.
Many times you'll hear the word closure. You never have closure, because when God gives you a child, He doesn't give you a handbook that comes along. Well, if you lose that child or somebody takes that child, this is how you mourn. It's just another chapter that they turn and you go through, or another milestone that would have been missed. Because the girls would now be juniors now, I think, in college, possibly thinking about marriage and careers.
Yes, they would be young adults. They would be able to vote. They would be doing all the things that rightly you would hope for your child or for a loved one, and that was robbed for them because of these murders.
Yeah, and this really changed this community. I remember being here the night they went missing, and then all of these years later, and all the times that we've come back and spoken with people, they say, you know, before this happened, this was a quiet bedroom community. People slept with their doors unlocked. After this happened, everything changed. If you talk to the young people who would now be the age that Abby and Libby would be, they say that their lives changed too. Their parents were no longer willing to just let them out and be teenagers like they were used to being. After this, everything changed for this town and for the people who lived here.
And keep in mind, the jurors are not from this town. They are from Allen County. So the big part of today's testimony was to bring them in on the emotion that this community has been feeling, that the families have been feeling here over the last 7.5 years.
Yeah, and a lot of fear, because we were hearing from investigators that the person who's responsible might be hiding in plain sight, and that was really something that was terrifying for the people that lived here. So that's the latest developments from today. We're going to have more coverage as the newscast ticks on. For now, for Bob and for Emily, I'm Anne Marie. We'll send it back to you, Scott.
All right, Ann, thanks so much. And there's going to be so much happening every day for as long as this trial continues. We're going to be breaking down the testimony and evidence every weeknight at 10 o'clock. Our Delphi debrief will air over on our WTHR Plus streaming app. You can find it on Apple TV, Amazon Fire Stick, and Roku. Angela?
Scott, it is warmer compared to 24 hours ago. We're up another 6 degrees in Indianapolis from this time yesterday, up 6 in Shelbyville and Richmond, up 5 in Columbus and in Lafayette. Skies are clear, temperatures between 65 and 70 degrees right now. 66 Noblesville, Greensburg, and Indianapolis, clear skies, and 67 in Tipton. We have sunshine, and 64 in Connorsville, little fall color with some sunshine, 65 degrees in Crawfordsville right now. If you're headed up to Ross-Ade, it is a night game for the Boilermakers, an 8 p.m. kickoff with temperatures in the upper 50s. I'll cover the IU forecast as we get into our Saturday. In that full forecast, I'll give you a hint, sunshine tomorrow and 70.
Angela, thanks so much. A Noblesville police officer could face disciplinary action tonight after suggesting another officer try suspected cocaine. All of this unfolding during a traffic stop back in March. Our Chase Howell was given the body cam footage of the officer. So Chase, what do we know about this incident?
What I can tell you is Noblesville police found a roach, or the end of a joint with marijuana in it, inside the man's car, and they found the alleged cocaine inside the man's pocket. But what's causing concern is what they did afterwards. On body cam video worn by a Noblesville police officer, you can hear him and another officer discussing suspected cocaine being found during a traffic stop.
The clear bag?
Yeah. It's during that interaction when the officer wearing the body cam I obtained suggests to the other officer to taste test the alleged cocaine.
Do the taste test. Come on, get your pinky. Dab that up. Dab it up.
Timothy Horty is the executive director at the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy. While he didn't see the video, Horty says ingesting illegal drugs as a way to test them goes against any department's protocol.
We would teach two protocols. One would be outfitted with PPE. The officer would do a field test and determine what drugs may or may not be in his possession. And the second would be in a more controlled environment where the officer would keep the drugs sealed and then take them into a laboratory where a technician under safer circumstances might test those narcotics.
Horty says just handling illicit drugs in the field can be dangerous, let alone ingesting them.
Well, we see overdose situations every day, and an officer, if he or she came into contact with those kinds of drugs, you never know what's in them, and so an overdose situation could very well be a possibility for the officer.
Whether an officer could face disciplinary action for taste testing an illegal drug versus following protocol, Horty says that's up to each agency.
To do anything other than take those drugs to a testing facility and then immediately put them in a property room would not be the right protocols.
I did reach out to the Noblesville Police Department, and while they weren't available for an interview, they do tell me they're looking into the incident. Reporting here in Noblesville, Chase Howell, 13 News.
The Delphi murders trial putting a small Indiana community in the national spotlight. Tonight, how the community is dealing with the added stress. Plus, IU honoring a music legend. Ahead, we'll take you to the ceremony unveiling of a new sculpture of John Mellencamp. Angela?
Scott, warm for late October with temperatures in the 70s through the middle part of next week.